Okay, so once you have this, we're just gonna click Command T, and with that, you're gonna be able to stretch this out like that. Make it real big, and we can center it like this. Because what we're gonna be doing is erasing sort of every other line from this big blue light sort of thing that we're gonna stick in there in a little bit. So we can just click Enter for now. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to, I think I went out of order just a little bit, but it's okay. Just take off the visibility of this layer, just right here. Just take it off for now. Make a new layer. Okay, and then this layer we're going to go back to the actual brush. Get a big old 300 something brush, and let's get a blue color. I'll just pick one out that I think looks nice. And if I always, if I mess it up now, we can always fix it later using a color correction or something. But I'll use 2784A7, and I think that should be good, but we'll see later. So I'll just kind of take this, and that looks a little bright. Probably have to be shifting this a little bit later, but for now that's all right. And maybe just give it a little bit of a blur, not too much, maybe like a 50, something like that. This is a little too big, so of a blob. So don't make that mistake. Just shrink it down a little bit. Unfortunately, the top's probably gonna have a little line. Yes, it does. So I'm just gonna have to take my eraser and just kind of erase at it. So that's okay though. Now we're good now. So just maybe move it up a little bit like that, and then we can bring these lines back. Beautiful, and center them kind of right over the line. All right. So now what we're gonna do is, this is how we're gonna get those lines gone. If you don't already know this is how you do it. So you click Command, and while clicking Command, you're gonna click on the layer thumbnail right here on these lines, and that's just gonna highlight them all. So that's perfect. That's what we want to do. So we're just gonna turn off the visibility. They'll stay highlighted. Don't worry. Now go up to the layer with this light, this blue blob, and we're just gonna hit Delete or Backspace, whichever works, and then just click M and then click out here. So look at that. Beautiful. We've erased every line or whatever, and it looks kind of nice on something nice and even like 50, or maybe we can click 100 and we can actually see what this looks like. Now in my versions of this, I've always ended up sort of blurring this out a little bit, but in the Tron thing, some things seem like they're really exact. So if you like this, you can keep it just as it is. But I think that I'm going to end up blurring it just a little bit, because I think it's a little harsh. So I'll probably go to not anywhere near that, like maybe a 1 or something blur. Nothing much, but just a little bit, so it's not quite so harsh. You can see that looks pretty nice, but now it looks more like I don't know, it's a little softer. So then it's a personal preference thing. If you like it, just give it a little 1 pixel blur. Otherwise, you can leave it. And we're almost done. So now really the only thing we have left to do is our text. So let's get to that. So just hit T, get a new layer up here, and I will go choose a white, and just actually let me scroll out a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. Alright, just to make sure this is really easy to center things, I'm just gonna make sure everything's to one side of the document to the other. I will center things like this, and I'm gonna go ahead and type Avion. That's a cool name. And then I'm going to go ahead and make this a little bit bigger. Just blow it up so it doesn't look so tiny. That's good. Let's double click on the layer, the text layer. I'll click gradient, keep the standard gradient, and just bump the opacity down a little bit. I don't know, say 20, something like that. Don't have to be anything much. Alright, so now to do this reflection, I'm going to say Command J on my text layer. That's going to make a duplicate. Command T on this duplicate layer. Right click, flip vertical, just like we did with these lights. And now we've got a flip. So hit enter. And what I should do, since this is opposite, I should flip the gradient. So click over here, just hit the little reverse button like that. Alright, now I'm gonna take this down, make sure it stays centered, so I'll just hit this and bump it down what I think will be underneath. Whoops, don't do that. Alright, so something like that. And now I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna put this layer behind this color layer. So I find that and I put it behind there, and then I'm going to probably take down the opacity a little bit to like say 75, and then even a little bit further I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to apply a mask. Now if you don't know how to do this, pay attention. Down here in the layers palette there's this little button right here. If you hover over it long enough it'll say add layer mask. So we're just going to click on this, and what that does is it makes this little box right next to your layer. And how this works is it fills it with white automatically. White passes through. So if the whole thing is white, you're just going to see nothing's going to look different because white shows the background. Now, if you make it black, however, so if I were to say Command I, it's going to disappear because everything's black and it's not going to go through. So that's how that works. So I'll hit B again to get a big brush, and I'll just make sure I have a black color. Okay, so once I have my color, make sure you still have this checked and it's not everything else. Select that layer or mask, and then you just kind of click and drag across like that. And I might have had to do that again, I don't know. Just you can kind of keep on skimming across. If you want to be really accurate, make sure you have, you know, lines, or you can take your gradient tool. Like here's another way to do it. It's just to bring up the gradient tool here. Make sure you have, you know, default or just plain black, and we can just kind of, you know, select it, make it straight and whatnot. So something like that. And then when you're done with all this, you can make sure that it looks real nice and neat, and you can give it a little bit of a blur if you think that will be better. Well, that's a little much because I don't want to be able to see the very bottoms of the letters. Well, the tops technically, but you know, the bottom in regards to us. You get the picture. Alright, so you can just give it a little blur, make it a little softer. And that's basically it. So, you know, if you guys come up with any tutorials that you'd like to see done, just go over to my website here at avion.co.nr and take a look. It's pretty cool. We just got a new author, Matthew Booth. You can, you know, he'll be posting some stuff up here. So, but if you see something like, I don't know, you want to see the PS3 wallpaper I just added up, you know, you can check it out. You can download these. I usually set them up as pretty big files, so you can use them as wallpapers or whatnot. But you know, scroll through here, have a look. A lot of this is news recently, but you know, click the artworks or whatever, and then you can really take a good look at some of my stuff that I've put up here. And if you see something you think looks really cool and you'd like to see a tutorial on how to make it, you know, just send me a message, and that's pretty easy. Just go over to contact here, just and send me a message. You know, just fill out the contact form here and hit submit when you're done. And I should get back to you pretty soon. You know, I check my email a lot, so that should work. I'll probably end up saying, yeah, that's a good idea, because I mean, that's how this one was actually done. You know, somebody said, oh, hey, that looks real cool, you know, do you think you could do a tutorial for that? And I said, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. So, you know, I've written a couple of tutorials for Denny Tang, who's the owner of photoshoptutorials.ws. So, you know, if I ever come up with something I think would make a good tutorial, I just talk to him, and, you know, it's worked out pretty well so far, in the words of Tony Stark. So yeah, you know, check out the website. Once again, that's avion.co.nr. aevion.co.nr. And if you think that you can, you want something to be made into a tutorial, just let me know. Until next time, this is David Cox from Avion. I'll catch you next time.